So hello, my name is Jessie and I am an aromatherapy student. And sometimes I get questions of people asking me, so what kind of resources do you recommend in regards to essential oil safety? So what kind of essential oil safety resources do you have? What do you recommend? So in this video, I really wanted to address that. So if people are wondering this, or if people ask me about this, I'll be able to refer them to this video. So today, what this video is going to look like is there's going to be 3 parts. So for part number 1, I'll be just kind of going over some general safety myths that, just in case you do believe them, that we'll be able to clear the air together and we will be on the same page. Then part number 2, I'll be sharing with you my essential oil resources, safety resources, and kind of compare them, tell you what to expect in them. And then part number 3, I will be opening up to a question and answer period. And with the part number 1, 2, and 3, what it's going to look like is, for when I'm doing part number 1, I'll be looking at the camera. Then I will be looking at the chat to see if anyone had any questions, any comments. Then I will go back to part number 2, speak to the camera. Then after that, look at the chat, see if there's any comments or questions. Then I'll go to part number 3. And then after part number 3, or during part number 3, I'll be going with the question and answers. So for those who may be joining in and watching, when I'm going through the parts, I won't be looking at the comment section. I'm not ignoring you, but after each part, I'll be looking at the comment section, looking for questions. So feel free to ask questions as you have them, and I'll answer them when I can. So also, if you're watching the replay on this, feel free to go into the description to see kind of when these 3 parts start if you want to skip to one part. So part 1, we're going to talk about some general safety myths. There are a lot, but I wanted to cover some important ones. So number 1 is, I hear a lot of people saying, essential oils are natural, therefore they're 100% safe. You don't have to worry about safety. And unfortunately, that is not true, at least in regards to what I'm learning, what I'm studying, and research I've looked at. So the truth is, when it comes to essential oils, there may be some essential oils that that's not actually recommended for your circumstance. So for example, if you are using essential oils with kids, there may be some essential oils that are not recommended as safe and are recommended to avoid for, let's say, certain kids that are 2 years and younger, maybe 5 years and younger, maybe 6 years and younger. There are even some essential oils that are recommended to avoid for all children. Or for example, in pregnancy, there may be some essential oils that you are not recommended to use, recommended to avoid because of safety reasons. And even if you have certain health issues on certain kind of medications, there may be some essential oils that you should be avoiding. And also, even among that being said that there might be some essential oils that you should be avoiding, there also might be some dilution rates that are suggested for those specific circumstances. So for example, if you're pregnant or if you have kids, there may be essential oil dilution rates that are recommended, which, if you're wondering about these, you can check out my pinned dilution story on my Instagram later. Second myth I really want to address, I see this all over, especially with some of the more popular essential oil companies. They'll say that you can use the essential oils topically, meaning on your skin, of course diluted, aromatically, breathing it in, and ingestion, and it is totally safe. I just want to say that for me personally, I only recommend using essential oils topically, so on your skin, diluted and aromatically. When it comes to ingestion, taking essential oils orally, I personally don't encourage it. I don't recommend it. There are a lot of safety risks involved with that. So I just kind of want to say, if you are told that, oh, there's no risk, it's completely safe, that you really kind of do your research outside of that company that might be telling you that. But I'll leave it at that. The third thing that I do want to address in regards to general safety myths would be, I see some people saying, well, I know that there could be potential drug and essential oil interactions, but I don't take essential oils internally, so I don't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, according to the research, there are some essential oils that, if you are on medications, certain medications, even using that essential oil aromatically is not recommended. So I will show you some resources that will kind of address some of these questions that may come up after hearing what I've just said. So I'm going to see if there's any questions. It doesn't look like there are. So I'm going to go on to part number 2. This is part number 2, where I'll be talking about essential oil resources, essential oil books in regards to safety. Before I get started on this part, I want to invite you to be really mindful of who has written the book. Whether it's a book you're thinking about purchasing, whether it's a book that you already have, because I've seen a lot of essential oil books that are written by people who haven't really received formal training in aromatherapy. And just because someone is a chiropractor doesn't mean they're a aromatherapist. Just because somebody is a doula doesn't mean that they're a aromatherapist. So just something to be mindful of, but it's just something to think about. So the 3 books that I will be sharing with you guys that I have, that I use, and that I recommend would be, sorry it's backwards, but Essential Oil Safety Book by Robert Tisserand and Rodney Young. Essential Oil Safety Files by Leah Jacobson, Certified Clinical Aromatherapist. And Essential Oil Profiles by, again, Leah Jacobson, Certified Clinical Aromatherapist. And by the way, if you're liking this live, feel free to click that heart button to share that you like it. So I'm going to be going over them individually. First up, Essential Oil Safety Book by Tisserand and Young. Wow, it's a thick one. It has a lot of research. If you're really looking for research, this is a great book for you. However, something I do want to bring up is was originally created to be a guide for healthcare professionals. That being said, not the easiest book to read. So I bought this when I was with either Young Living or doTERRA. I think it was my doTERRA days, because I thought, yeah, I want to learn about safety. I want to know everything. I bought it, opened it up, and I was like, what the heck? Am I supposed to do something with this information? It was a lot to really ingest, like take in. So I put it on my bookshelf, never really cracked it open until I became an aromatherapist like 4 or 5 years later. So the reason I use this book and what the main function is, there's a lot of information, but I basically use it for chapter 13, which I'm going to try to open it up here so you can see how thick it is. So this part is what I use the most. Chapter 13 is essential oil profiles, where you can go into this chapter, look up a specific essential oil, kind of see like all sorts of things on it, research, chemical makeup, general chemical makeup, and then see the safety summary. So this is where it will say, not recommended for someone who is pregnant, not recommended for somebody who's nursing, avoid if you're on this kind of medication, if you have this kind of health condition. So it also sometimes recommends, like with ages, like avoid around the face of a child who is like 10 years in or whatnot, right? Under 10 years. And so I like it. It's something you can look up the essential oil, see what kind of safety summary, what kind of safety things to consider. Again, not the easiest to read. But I felt that there's also some things that were a little bit incomplete with this book, in the sense that sometimes the ages are mentioned, like avoid with these ages, but not always. So that's where I was kind of like, it's not like completely full like I'd like it to be. It's not completely reflective of my aromatherapy studies, because there are kind of little details that are missing. So in that being said, a book that I feel has kind of more like the missing parts filled in regards to safety would be the Essential Oil Safety Files by, like I said, Leah Jacobson, Certified Clinical Aromatherapist. In this book, there are over 245 essential oils mentioned here. So basically, you just look up the essential oil. Of course, make sure it's the same, like, common name. So lavender, same, Latin name. So lavandula angustifolia, or if there's any kind of things that you want to make sure it's the exact same oil. Open it up, and there is, for every oil, it says safe for these people, topical max, and avoid if. So I really like that this is really easy to use. Whereas the Essential Oil Safety Book, like I said, when I first got it, I opened it, I was like, what the heck is this? I don't really understand what I'm looking for. Where this one is so easy to use. If you're a beginner in essential oils, look at the essential oil. It says who it's safe for, who it is not safe for, and topical max. So it's really easy to read, has all the information you need. And this one does include ages. So if there's certain ages that essential oils should not be used for with children, it's there. Which brings me to my next book. Hi, seeing you guys coming in. Hi. Which brings me to my third book, Essential Oil Profiles. This one again by Leah Jacobson, certified clinical aromatherapist. I'll say it again. And this one has safety information. So all the safety information in here is in here. It has drug interactions. So all the drug interaction information here is in this book. And the things that it has more than that would be its therapeutic properties of the essential oil, what kind of body systems would most benefit from it. And this is just the 60 of the most popular essential oils, just to let you know. Also, there is a bonus section on diluting carrier oils, children, pregnancy, breastfeeding, dogs, and cats. And yes, Aromatics and Flowers says Tisserand's book is very scientific. Very scientific. It's so true. So this one, of course, it has like all the information in here, but it's a fuller picture. But less essential oils. So there's only 60 of the most popular essential oils. This one has over 242 essential oils listed. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of just kind of recapping the essential oil reference books. So we have Essential Oil Safety, not that easy to read. So if you've ever read this, let me know. If you're watching on the replay, if you have any of these books, tell us about it and which one do you like, which one don't you like. So like this, Essential Oil Safety, a little less easy to read, actually kind of hard for, you know, when you're beginning out. These books here by Leah Jacobson, really easy to read. So easy, user-friendly, good for beginners, good for people who are more advanced. Or I believe this one is more for people who are advanced. Just gonna mention that out there because it is hard. Essential Oil Safety, not all ages are mentioned. And I've realized this, whereas this one, we have all the ages mentioned in both books. So which essential oils are safe for which age groups. Then we have this guy, he's the main source, right? So a lot of this information is extracted from Tisserand's work. So you want the original, we're getting this, but like I said, not the easiest to read. This one, that being said that this is the original, a lot of research, this one is already like digested for you. It's easy to digest, extracted to in an easy to read format. But I'm going to go over these kind of main differences in case you were wondering between these books. If you are wanting more detail than what I'm about to give you, check out my YouTube video, which is kind of goes into depth, like which one would you get, this one or this one, in which cases would you do it. Check out my YouTube video. It's called the top 3 essential oil books. But I'm going to go over it briefly here. So this one has just the safety. So it says it's safe for these kind of people, not safe for these kind of people, and topical max. That's it. But 242 essential oils. So that's a lot of essential oils. Whereas this one, we have the shelf lives. So you can get the shelf lives of essential oils because each essential oil has a different shelf life. We have the safety information, like I said, drug interaction, but then there's also, you know, a section on diluting, carrier oils, children, pregnancy, breastfeeding, dogs, and cats. And there's even like little dilution charts that you can look at in the back, which is really awesome. So fuller picture, less essential oils covered, just safety. It's safe for, it's not safe for certain people. And Aromatics and Flowers says, I need easy to digest. Then you're looking at Leah Jacobson stuff. So if you guys are interested in purchasing these, I just want to mention that I do have a link in my bio. I think I'm supposed to say a disclaimer here and saying that it is an affiliate link. This is where people might be thinking, are you encouraging it because you are an affiliate? Do you say it's good because you're an affiliate? No, I became an affiliate because I know it's good. It's something that I use. It's something that I'd be recommending whether or not I would be getting, you know, any kind of commission or anything for this. But these are the books. These are the books. And I'm going to see if there's any questions that have come up. If not, I'm going to open up the questions that I have in my question box. And yeah, I saw some of you guys give me some hearts flying, so thank you for the feedback. That helps me out to know that you're liking this. All right. So we're officially starting part 3. This is the question and answer period. So if you have questions, ask them. Ask them in the comment section. Ask them with the little question mark beside the comment box. So, oh, Aromatic Flower says, are they both still in print? If they're not available now, it's temporary. But when it comes to these, what I actually got, you have the option to either buy this in print or buy it in a bundle. So for me, when I got this one, I was like, I want it in print. I love reference books that are in print, but I bought the bundle where I can get the online access as well. So if I'm not at home with my book and I have my phone with me, I can go online, look up the safety information myself on my phone on the website. So they should be both available in print. If they're not, it should be just temporary, as far as I'm concerned. Does that answer your question, Aromatics and Flowers? You can also get the ebook. So you can get like the ebook, online, and book. That's a little more, but like when you bundle it, it's a little less expensive, like rather than buying it individually. But for me, I'm like, I want the paper so I can reference it, and I want the online access because I want access when I'm not with my book. So I'm not always with my book. I don't keep it in my purse. All right. So next question is, I'm looking at Michelle. Definitely need this. I've been looking for some good books to check out. Yes, look it up. Look it up. These are good. But then also, Michelle, I don't know if you're going to be an aromatherapy student, but if you are, Tisserand is a great one, because even when in my classes, if I'm going to be referring using my sources, I can't be using Leah Jacobson because you know, she's not Tisserand. She got her information from Tisserand, and that's where the research is. So as an aromatherapy student, essential oil safety is like golden, because you have, you know, when I'm writing my paper, when I'm doing my case studies, I can say, you know, according to Tisserand, and I can source Tisserand, but I don't think I could ever really source Leah Jacobson. But her information is from Tisserand anyways. Whew, sorry, that was so long. I don't know if that's what you wanted, but maybe somebody else had that question. So, and you're welcome, Aromatics and Flowers. Next question. I see maybe what not to use. Okay, so what essential oil safety resources should we not use? Pinterest comes to mind, LOL. So there are some really not so great places to get essential oil advice, essential oil safety advice. Pinterest is one of them. I think some of the most dangerous places would be like Pinterest, Instagram, Google, Facebook groups. Sometimes I see different posts and I'm like, oh my gosh, how are people posting this? I don't really say anything anymore. I just let people say what they want to say. But I think a good question you should be asking yourself, whether it be a book or a post, ask yourself, who wrote this? Are they affiliated with a company that promotes essential oil usage that is considered unsafe by reputable aromatherapy associations, such as, you know, putting essential oils in your water, using essential oils neat constantly, drop techniques? If yes, then maybe this isn't the best person to get your safety information from. You know, what are they trained in essential oils? Are they not? If they are, is it actually approved by an aromatherapy association that is credible? But it's kind of like the wild, wild west when it comes to resources. But I'd say be really wary, have your guard up when you're coming to social media for essential oil recipes, essential oil safety advice. I wish I had a better advice, but it's the wild, wild west. Like for me as an aromatherapy student, I can like look at a recipe and like, ooh, that one was the phototoxic one. Ooh, that one's not safe for this age and she's putting it on a baby. Ooh, this one shouldn't be for like someone who's pregnant. But I guess you just have to like think critically. Like I mentioned earlier, it's like, what are these person's credentials and what's their training, you know, whatnot. I see one saying, what about Valerie Ann Warwood? Any thoughts on her books? I have a few. I have The Fragrant Mind. Actually, I'm going to bring it up. All right, so I'm really close. I'm coming back. Okay, so I'm back. So I have some of Valerie Ann Warwood's books, so like Essential Aromatherapy. I have The Fragrant Mind, so this one's really about essential oils. You'll see a lot of my posts on essential oils and emotions are from this book. And then I have the complete book of aromatherapy and essential oils. And I really love her books. However, I know there's some things I take with a grain of salt, because there are things that I've seen mentioned in these books that it's like, ooh, that was like accepted way back, but not really accepted anymore in regards to safety. So an example would be like in this book I was reading on how to use essential oils in your bath, and she said you can dilute it in salt. Whereas now in aromatherapy, that's, you know, pretty much accepted as not a safe practice. You would dilute it in a carrier oil, then put in the salt. So I love her reference books, but there are some things where I'm like, okay, that's not what we practice anymore in regards to safety. So I like your question, Spider Monkey Mom. I love her books. There's some things I do kind of like take with a grain of salt, be like, oh, that's not really something we practice safely anymore. If that makes sense. So I love her stuff, but for safety, I'm looking at Tisserand and Leah Jacobson's stuff. Next question here. Okay. I like this one. Are there bad and dangerous resources? Yeah, there are lots. Like I mentioned, some of the danger zones I would say I'm seeing a lot of on Pinterest, Facebook, Google, like some bloggers, you know, that may not be educated on safety, Instagram, a lot of social media places. So yeah, like I said before, be mindful of who's giving you the information. Are they trained in safety? Are they not? There are a lot of people who are self-proclaimed aromatherapists on Instagram, and then once I've talked to them a little deeper, I was like, whew, they're not really that. Like, or there's this new thing, I don't know if I'm going to name it. Yeah, I will. I feel like some people might be upset by this, but there's kind of different kind of certifications going out now. There's one called Essential Oil Specialist. There are some legit programs, but there's this one where people are now essential oil specialists, and they're trained by a company that promotes unsafe usage. But then when they go around and tell people, hey, I'm an essential oil specialist, people think, oh, she must be a professional. But in reality, it was like a $97 course that teaches things that NAHA, the National Association of Holistic Aromatherapy, strictly goes against in regards to safe practices. So they're promoting how to like put essential oils neat on your skin habitually, putting essential oils in your drinks, in your water, in your lemonade, in your tea, and drop techniques. So even with people who are like professionals and have certificates, you have to be careful of like knowing, are they recognized and approved by credible and reputable associations. Spider Monkey Mom, I like your name. I tend to go to aromatherapy since I don't have Tisserand for safety precautions, since they reference Tisserand. I don't know too much about aromatherapy to say, oh, I agree or I don't think it's a good idea. But I like how you said that. Aromatics and Flowers says sometimes reps for MLM companies give unsafe advice, but some of them do it innocently. I know. I used to be one before I got training, where I would regretfully, you know, we were encouraged, you know, teach people to use essential oils internally in their water, like it's fine. And when you're told by a big company, you're like, well, it must be okay, like everyone's doing it. And then now that I am getting trained, I will not be able to recommend the same practices I did as a MLM rep that was not trained, because they're not safe practices. They're not considered. They're risky recommendations. So I'm just going to recap. I used to be an MLM rep. I taught whatever that one company told me to. And then now that I am trained, all of the things that I was told to encourage when I was untrained, I do not have the right to, as a trained professional, you know, 2.5 years after my training, if that makes sense. It's just kind of a good reflection to think about. Yes, Roma Web is usually good. Aromatics and Flowers says. Any thoughts on, I'm not going to say the name. I actually don't know Erica. I just discovered that person recently, and I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know Erica, but I have recently followed her. Okay. Which one is best for beginners? So which essential oil safety resource is best for beginners? Out of the ones I mentioned, I'm looking at these two, because like I said, it's so easy to read to reference to. You look it up, boom, the information is there. Whereas, like I said, this one's a little bit difficult. So for beginners, this. For people who are advanced, this one, or Tisserand's book. So this is good for beginners. For people who are advanced, this is good for, I guess, whoever is ready for a challenge, because it is a little bit harder to read, which I will mention. Like I mentioned, this is made for health practitioners. Not easy to read. Last I heard, Plant Therapy had Robert Tisserand on their video, and he said he's planning on making a new essential oil safety book that is easier to read, easier to digest. Last I heard, it's supposed to be coming out in fall 2021. Has that changed? Will it be sooner or later because of life and COVID? I don't know. But last I heard, you can look it up if you want. If you look up Plant Therapy, Robert Tisserand, there should be like an interview that they did together where he will explicitly say it's supposed to be coming out fall 2021 if things go good. So, next question. And again, for those who are watching, feel free to ask questions. Okay, I kind of mentioned this, but which essential oil resource is best for an aromatherapy student? As you can see, I have all three, but this one, like I said, if I'm writing a paper, if I'm doing my resources, if I'm referencing different resources, this is Tisserand. This is accepted in my case studies, in my papers. So I would say this one is so good. But again, if you want something that's easier to read, these are kind of cool too. Yeah, Michelle says Robert Tisserand also helped Plant Therapy create their kids line and essential oil safety guidelines. Yes, he did. And I love that. And what I learned in that one YouTube video that I just mentioned with Robert Tisserand and Plant Therapy, they actually go batch to batch on essential oils to see if it's kid safe or not. So for those who know, Plant Therapy has their kid safe line where they say an essential oil is safe for kids or it's not. Robert Tisserand helped formulate that line, and they'll actually go batch by batch. So for example, there's some essential oils that are safe sometimes for kids, sometimes not, depending on the chemical makeup, like cardamom. So cardamom sometimes will be not safe for kids, sometimes it'll be kid safe, which is really cool. I love that Robert Tisserand is really involved with Plant Therapy, because I've seen a lot of essential oil brands that say they have a kids line, but then you look at the ingredients and you're like, holy man, this is for kids, you know, and it has like eucalyptus globulus and like peppermint in it. And for people who may not know, they're thinking, oh, cool, like my favorite band has cool kids line. But then if they did some research on safety, they realize, whoa, maybe this isn't the best. So why is Tisserand's book harder to read? Could you show us one page? Can I show one page? I don't know if I can show you guys. I just don't want to get in trouble if I show too much. Basically, like, there's essential oil, like, research and, like, chemical makeup and stuff that it's hard to digest. I can talk to you a little more about this later, Michelle. And Aromatic Flower says, I love that he gives drug interactions in his book. Very helpful when doing case studies. Yes. It's so true. All right. Next question. So yeah, just recap. Aromatherapy student, this is a good one. But so are these if you want those as well. And again, the link is in the description. Or in the description. The link is in my Instagram bio link. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, because I might put this on YouTube, it will be in the description. Okay, I see a new one. Any recommendations on how to kindly point out when someone who is using unsafe usage? Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. So do I have any recommendations for how to kindly point out when someone who is recommending unsafe usage? So I've realized in some certain essential oil communities, this is something that's promoted. Like I said before, I was trained in aromatherapy. I was actively a part of one of these communities. And when I brought things up, how do I say this? I think I've realized in life, any domain of life, people don't like to be told what to do. So if you tell people that's unsafe, stop it, not a good approach. What I like to do is I kind of like to ask questions to help them reflect, to come to that conclusion themselves. And then if they're asking questions, say, hey, I actually do have some resources that might help you, if that makes sense. Because when I was a part of a group, part of one of these communities, I remember saying, oh, like, I don't think this is like safe for children. This is what I've read somewhere. People get really like hostile, really attacking me, attacking aromatherapists, saying that they know nothing, that everything's old school and outdated, which it's not. I've learned that some people, if they don't want to know, they don't want to know. So, I mean, kind of gauging out, are they somebody who's like set in their ways that they don't care? Or is it someone that's like, oh, I'm doing this because I don't know any better, but I'm open? So I think I'd probably maybe ask questions like, oh, do you think that's safe for kids? And then if they say, of course it is, and you know they're not open, then maybe, I don't know how far you can really go in that conversation. Or if someone says, well, I think so, is there anything you can tell me? Then, I mean, the door's open. But when it comes to people who use essential oils unsafely and they're really adamant about it, I don't think it's worth your energy. I mean, if they want to know, they'll look. If they show that they're open to learning about other resources, cool. Use that open door. But if not, it was a headache for me to even think about that or try to help people. There's a few times I did. Like, people would say, oh, my kid has a really weird rash, and people would be like, put some neat, like, you know, essential oils on it. And so I'm like, sometimes I say something, sometimes I'd ask a question, like, hey, you know, like, maybe that's maybe that's sensitization that's happening. Like, you should look it up, you know, but I don't know. I love the question. You who asked that, you know who you are, and I see you. It's a slippery slope sometimes. If people are open, they want to learn, I'd share it. If they're really closed off about it and hostile, personally, I don't waste my time and energy anymore. Yeah, and the person says, it's so tough. I have 2 very young kids, and I dove deep into research, but I started saying I don't feel comfortable using XYZ with my family. Yeah. It's a hard community to be in when, yeah. So I'm going to go back to that. When I was part of that community, and people would ask questions like, hey, like, what's this say? Is this safe for children? And I would like, oh, in this resource, it says this resource says that. And then people would just like slam, be like, who does that person think they are? Aromatherapist. I know an aromatherapist that told me this. And like, super hostile. So I got out of that community. I dipped. All right. Last question. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to like type it in and add it. And this one's a good one. Are there any free resources? Because of course these books cost money. They're a little bit more on the expensive end. It's not like your $20 book. However, it is something that you're going to reference to. But are there any other free resources when it comes to safety? I mean, it's not going to be completely like complete, but sometimes when I'm looking for different safety information, I want to see what other aromatherapists say. I'll sometimes type in a certain subject and look up AromaHead. So like, I didn't know much about aromatherapy in animals, so I'll put like essential oils in animals, AromaHead. So AromaHead's a really well-known school. They have a blog, so I'll be like, AromaHead blog, animals and essential oils, and then I'll kind of look up there. But I'm really careful about what kind of blogs I look at. So I usually look up AromaHead, what AromaHead says. I'll look at kind of what Plant Therapy says. I know Plant Therapy is an essential oil company, but they have a lot of aromatherapists on board. They teach a lot of safety things. They teach a lot of things that align with my schooling. So whether or not you use essential oils from Plant Therapy, I do think it's a really great resource. So for example, when I'm curious about like things in my studies, want to cross-reference it, want to fill in the blanks of things that I haven't learned about yet, I'll go Plant Therapy blog, pregnancy, and then it'll say like what essential oils are like safe for pregnancy, what essential oils aren't, how would you use it in a safe way. Of course, saying that like if you are going to use essential oils in pregnancy, it's a personal choice. It's not always recommended. You know, you have to make the choice for yourself, but there are essential oils that are specifically not safe. So you can go on like Plant Therapy blog, pregnancy, essential oils, right? So I'd say like for free resources, check out reputable blogs. So AromaHead blog, then keyword you're looking up. Plant Therapy blog, keyword you're looking up. And those are kind of good ways to look up things. In regards to free resources, also, I guess if you're wondering if something's safe for kids or not, you could check out Plant Therapy and see if their essential oil is like safe for kids, if it's marked kid safe, because Tisserand formulated that line. But keep in mind that just because it's kid safe at plant therapy doesn't mean it's kid safe at your essential oil company. Like I said, for example, there's some essential oils that are safe sometimes, not safe other times, like cardamom. If there's a higher amount of 1,8-cineol, which is a chemical constituent, then it's going to be unsafe. So if you have one that's low in 1,8-cineol, it's kid safe, but then you go to your own company, that might be another one, and say, oh, cardamom's kid safe, I can use it, but then there's higher levels of 1,8-cineol. It's not always a good like reference, if that makes sense. I'm hoping that makes sense. Yes, Aromatic Sunflower says, yeah, some suggestions can make your inner aromatherapist cringe. Yes, sometimes I want to pull out my hair. When I was first studying, sometimes I thought like I was saving people, like I was the essential oil police. I'd be like, oh, be careful, maybe you don't want to use that on your children. Where I realized I can do that all day. It's not worth my time and energy. If people really want to know, they will, you know, they will be open and they'll look for like safety resources, which I think if you're a part of a company that does teach things that are unsafe, considered unsafe by NAHA, like using essential oils habitually, drinking essential oils in your water, meat therapies, casually like ingesting essential oils, then I really recommend that you do your safety research outside the company. If you love that company, great, use them, use their oils. But I think for safety wise, I would recommend to any kind of friend or family involved in those companies to do your safety research outside. So I'm gonna see if I have any other questions. I don't have any, but I will wait another 30 seconds just in case somebody has a question. And while I'm waiting, because I know that this video is lagged up to like 30 seconds, I'll just kind of recap some of my resources that I do recommend in regards to safety. Essential Oil Safety by Robert Tisserand and Rodney Young. Again, not so easy to read, but really great reference book. And then I have the 2 essential oil profiles by Leah Jacobson, certified clinical aromatherapist, and essential oil safety files, which I covered earlier in this video. If you are interested in getting these books, I do have a link in my Instagram bio. Again, like I said, disclaimer, it's affiliate link. I don't say they're good because I'm an affiliate. I am an affiliate because they're good. I would be recommending these either way. So Erica has a question. As a non-aromatherapist seeking to be certified, oops, sorry, I just lost your message. I'm not really, okay. Erica said, as a non-aromatherapist seeking to be certified, I've chosen to not really share drops and recipes as much out of fear of people attacking my methods. I understand it comes from a good place. Yeah. I am meant not speaking to be certified. I definitely appreciate input from, but sometimes aromatherapy students can come off a bit mean. Yeah. And you'd be surprised, even some people who are essential oil users, they'll like contact me and kind of school me on how to use essential oils. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess they may not know that I'm a aromatherapy student, but that's okay. I think everyone has their opinion, whether they're an aromatherapy student, non-aromatherapy student, or an aromatherapist. It's crazy. I think it all comes down to personality, to be honest. All right. So I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to end the live. Again, this will be saved as a replay on IGTV. And I wish you guys a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care and bye-bye.